I've been blessed with the melody, Lord. That was many years ago. I don't need pray, Mama. I don't need tire. When only heaven knows. So give me one hit song, Lord. Let me blow like Olamide. Give me one hit song, Lord. Pick me up like I did Lego. Lord, I want to blow like see me. Small doctor, I hope you see me. So give me one hit song, Lord. Let me blow like Olamide. See, all the people where they envy me. Right now, follow me, Sherry, oh Lord, where you did.
Good morning, Tokman. How are you?
Calling me, 'cause I believe in me, dear Lord. Oh Lord, please show your face. I done they pray, Papa. I done they tire. Lord, please. What do you take from me, come? Oh, yeah, give me one hit song, Lord. Let me blow like two baba.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Okay, my name is Praise once again, and welcome to episode 18 of PFthinks. Now, I started a series on superior relationship skills, and we're looking at the 8 lines of work. Like I said, it's a solution I created many years ago for banks and for people who on how to effectively manage relationships. If you want a book, it's on Amazon. It's titled The 8 Lines of Work. It's one of the books I released late last year. You can order for it on Amazon. It's not available in Nigeria yet. We hope that it's something you can download in no time. But today we move to peer line. So this is not going to be long at all. So far, we've looked at the relationship between you and your upline. We've looked at the relationship between you and your downline. Uplines are people you look up to. Downlines are people that look up to you. Today, we look at the relationship between your peer line, and those are your colleagues. Now, a whole lot of people do not know that your colleagues are not necessarily your competitors. Now, that's one of the fundamental mistakes people make in life, thinking that their colleagues are their competitors. Sometimes your colleagues are your teammates, right? Your colleagues are your complements. Without their contribution, you may not be effective, right? A lot of people make competitors out of their colleagues, and they lose out in the grand scheme of life because they do not know that your competitors, your peer lines, your colleagues, are your teammates that you need to team up with, collaborate with to win. Now, of course, I know that some of your teammates who are jealous of your success and they're out to take you down, and you must know how to spot those ones. Now, when I start to teach you on the 3 quadrants of relationship, I'll teach you on how to deal with that. But by and large, a lot of your colleagues are simply your complements, right? They are your teammates. Now, tell you a story. Once upon a time, it was a story I read years ago of two people who were sick. The two of them were in ICU, and one day, every day they would, talk to themselves about their families. They would talk about, what life is, how life has happened to them. They would talk about their childhood. They would talk about what they've been through, the challenges and blah, blah, blah. They would just talk. So after a while, about a 1 week of staying together in ICU, there's one of them who, two of them in the room. The other one stays very close to the door. The other one stays close to the window. So the guy by the window side, will wake up and recline on, his a chair beside him, and he will look over there onto the streets, down, and begin to describe all he could see. He will talk about the beautiful street. He will talk about the beautiful trees, the leaves. He will talk about flowers. He will talk about the ocean, the water, fountain and everything. He will describe a very beautiful world out there that looks like heaven. The other guy who sleeps very close to the window, very close to the door, of course, that one is not close to the window, so he would enjoy what his friend is describing, and every day this other one will describe this other, wall that he has seen, he will describe, and the other one would enjoy it. After doing this for about 2 weeks, the other guy began to ask himself, why is it only this guy who is sitting by the window who is able to see all these things and I can't see it? So instead of to continue to enjoy what the other guy was describing, he became envious and begin to wish he were in that other guy's position, right? So he would say in his heart that how come they didn't put me beside the window? How come I'm not able to see everything this guy is describing? Now, so one day he began to say to himself, I wish this guy should just die. Because if he dies, then I'll be able to move to where he is and I'll be able to see a better world instead of just being stuck here. So he began to complain about his own situation. He didn't say it out. He still pretended as if it was enjoying what the other guy was describing day in, day out. Now, there was a day the other guy who used to describe things began to cough. Now, when he began to cough, the ideal thing is to press the bell, so that doctors could come to his aid, but it was too weak to press the bell. Now, the next best thing to do would have been for his roommate to press the bell, but his roommate did not press the bell. He began to feel good, about the fact that, wow, finally, I have the opportunity to get back at this guy and prove to him that, well, he's not the only one who deserves to see a better world. By and large, this other guy died. He died in his sleep, and the doctors came and they were quite stunned, and they just packed him and, took his body out of that room. 1 week later, this other guy alone in the room now asked the doctors if they could move him close to the window. Of course, they obliged him since nobody was there, and they moved him very close to the window. Then he looked out, and all he could see was a very ugly world out there. All he could see were simply dilapidated building, and he kept wondering, where is this world that this guy used to describe every day? So he looked down, looked up, everything he saw were very broken down building, refuse dump and blah, blah, blah. So he called the doctors to say, what's going on here? My friend that died, every time he sat here, he described the beautiful world. How come I can't see anything? The doctors laughed and they said, your friend was actually blind, right? He was a blind guy. He could not even see. He didn't have the capacity to see. But that was how he kept himself cheerful all through the time he was alive. And this guy, for the first time, felt very bad at how he had allowed envy to lead to the death of his friend, and how, it wasn't that the world had changed, it was simply that his friend chose to see the world differently. Now, the same way, if we are not grateful for the gifts of our colleagues, we become envious of them, instead of learning and collaborating with them to create a better world. Your teammates are so vital to your success, no matter their attitude. They are not you, so they may not work at your pace and they may not be like you, right? You need to understand that you're totally different from them, but you see, your difference is what you need for the team to become robust and become a winning team. Imagine if in a football match, everyone is a goalkeeper. Who are the people that will supply the passes? Imagine if everyone is a defender. Who are the people that would keep the goal? Imagine if everyone is a midfielder. Who are the people that will score the goal? Imagine if everyone is a striker. So the striker cannot feel more important than the defender, because without the defender, no matter how many goals the striker score, they are going to also outscore his team, right? Everyone cannot be the goalkeeper, because without the defenders, the strikers, and the midfielders, the goalkeeper is useless. In fact, a team is as good as its defense line, right? And the best form of attack, the best form of defense is actually attack. Now, so when you have your colleagues, you need to ask a fundamental question, that if motion is going to be determined by vote, will your colleagues vote for you? And why should they vote for you and not another person? Now, imagine if only one person can protect at work or in the world, or only one person can experience breakthrough in your radar or in your world. And the person that will experience breakthrough must be must voted for by every other person at the level of that person. Why would you think your colleagues will vote for you? Which is why it's very, very important to understand the rules of engagement when it comes to dealing with your peer line, right? Number one, you need to understand that you need to team up with your colleagues. Where T stands for, you need to torch to transform. You need to always look for how to add value to your friends, to your colleagues, right? A man that bears gift, we have many friends. You need to understand that you must be the game decider. You must be the star player within the team. Even though you cannot arrogate it to yourself alone, you need to be humble to know that without the contribution of your teammates, the world may not even applaud you. Because imagine if there are no players that Lionel Messi is dribbling, how do we applaud his genius, right? So the people he's dribbling are also part of the reason where his excellence find expression. Without those guys that he's dribbling, without his defenders, without his teammates who support him, who give him passes, who get things done for him, he may never have become very successful. Because if you claim you are the best player in the world and your team is in the relegation zone, being relegated year in, year out, nobody's going to applaud you no matter how good you are. Now, so you need to touch to transform. You always have to consistently ask, what value can I add to my teammates? In the team, you need to encourage them. I mean, I tell people that team is together, everyone achieve miracle, right? You need to encourage your colleagues. Be the one who knows about their birthday. Be the one who observes their facial expression. When your colleagues are looking down, who do they confide in, right? You need to be the one they look up to. You need to be the one that your teammates, come to meet to share their deepest problem with. Why? Because you are the one who cares the most about them. No, you need to genuinely care about them. I know you have your own problem. A lot of us, we think we have our own problem, we are carrying our own problem, and we totally forget about the challenges other people are having. Let me tell you, in resolving other people's issues is where you get your own needs met. Give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over. Every measure with which you measure to life, life will measure back to you in good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over. So you must learn to encourage your colleagues. You need to accept and you need to appreciate them. Now, if you check the word appreciation, right, it can mean clap, it can mean growth, it can mean increase. What that means is be the one that lifts the spirit of your colleagues. Be the one that is accepting them without judgment. When people come to meet you to gossip about your colleagues, right, be the one to kill the gossip, right? Don't be the one that spread and escalates. I mean, because gossip is like a pattern, it's like virus. Once they send it to you, it must die with you, because if you pass it on, it becomes something that destroys other people, right? So you need to be the one to accept your have the good, the bad, and the ugly. They have the challenges, they have the issues in their lives. You must be the one that seeks to understand why they're having the issues they're having. Oftentimes, I tell people, if you become empathetic, judgment will leave you. Because if you were brought up the way your colleagues were brought up, if you grew up in the same circumstances that produced them, you will almost live the life they are living or replicate their behavior. So be the one who accept, right? You don't always have to believe in their way of life, but accept their person, right? Even if you will reject behavior, and be the one to motivate them. The world is a place that is full of negativity. Imagine all the stories going around our world. Imagine all the negative stories every day. Some of your colleagues are afraid. Some of them don't even have the strength to live on. Some of them are losing in motivation. They are losing their enthusiasm for life. You must be the one. So what I always tell people, where I used to work, I will write notes, love notes to my colleagues regularly. I will write encouragement notes and drop it on their table. I will meditate about each of them and write something to inspire them. What must you not do when it comes to dealing with your colleagues? You must not stab them, where S stands for do not spite and do not split. A whisperer separates the best of friends. Don't be the one that bears the tale of the negativity about your colleagues. Don't be the one who break news. I mean, I belong to a group, there's always a guy who loves to break news. He doesn't even verify the news. He will just come. Any news at all, he comes to break. One day I had to engage him. And most of the news are often unpleasant. And I had to engage him. Are you a bearer of negativity, because you don't even bother to cross-check the news. You just dump it once it aligns or it resonates with what you're thinking. So oftentimes you're allowed to recall the news because the news is not always correct, right? So you must be the one, you must not spite your colleagues, especially when you are privy to certain information about them, especially in their moment of pain. You must not spite them and say, God catch him, he's the only one who is always been loved by all. Let me say this to you carefully. It's a principle that you must not forget. It's the principle that is called the principle of attraction. Now, every time you want a breakthrough in your life, every time you are praying for something, what God does is God makes it happen for someone close to you to test your reaction. Every time you desire something in life, God makes it happen to someone around you to test your reaction. Now, I have always talked about energy and vibration. When you see the good in your neighbor, when you see the good you desire in your colleague, don't let it remind you of what you don't have. Instead, genuinely be excited for them, genuinely be happy for your colleagues, right? Genuinely thank God for them. Once you do that, what you have done is, by the laws of attraction, the vibration and the energy they have becomes attracted into your life, because you have shown that you have the capacity to also handle the same. Every time you are genuinely happy, whether the people you think they are not hardworking as you, because sometimes God makes it happen for people who don't work as hard as you work, and what many of us is to begin to grumble and begin to wish it were you. You must learn to survive your brother's success and be encouraged and be appreciative, be full of gratitude about their success. So when you see it happen for them, be very, very grateful for them, genuinely be happy. Don't even talk about, God, why not me, right? Be genuinely happy. By doing that, you attract and magnetize it into your life. But if you look at it in their lives and you begin to remind God that, but this guy is a sinner, this guy is this guy is that, it's not as good as me, you disqualify and you disconnect yourself from the miracle that could have come into you. I have proven these principles consistently, and I realize it works all the time. There was a procedure we were doing last time. It was a process with the US government, and when the result, there were some of my colleagues that started after me. In fact, there were some of them, I introduced them to it, and they received approval. But my own approval, in fact, I was first of all rejected because they asked for some information which I supplied. By December ending, mine has not come, but every time these guys told me, oh, Prince, mine has been approved, I went into gratitude. I went into celebration. I was so excited that I began to tell God that, God, what happens for one happens for all. Even if mine doesn't come true, I am grateful that my friends are getting it. I'm grateful that the people have shown the way are getting it. Guess what? January 2nd, mine was approved. Now, I've proven this principle consistently, that every time you begin to desire something from God, God makes it happen for your neighbor, for your colleagues, to test your reaction. If your reaction is scorn, if your reaction is to become a cynic and talk down, look down your colleagues, you disconnect yourself from the energy of that miracle. But when you are grateful, gratitude is the highest level of vibration, you magnetize what has happened for them into your life. Now, so don't spite and don't split. Don't be a talebearer. Don't separate the best of friends. The T there, don't treat your colleagues anyhow. Don't treat them anyhow. There is nothing to lose for treating people right, but there's a lot to lose for treating people with ignominy and with disdain. Don't be the one who looks down on your colleagues. Some of them are going through pain. Never look down on them. Some of them have even made error of judgment. Be the one to stand for them. Don't be the one who walks out of people's lives in their moment of pain. Be the one who stands with them, even when their name is, or their brand can negatively affect your brand. Be the one who is standing